Welcome to WTF, the only askreddit channel that will blow your mind. Like and subscribe right now to support Pepe's career as an independent musician. Former cult members of Reddit. At what moment did you go, oh duck, I'm in a cult? My time with Primerica. Weekly events that had long moments of clapping and loud music. Prevents thinking and conversation. Big events with clapping, music, doing things like the wave. Prevents thinking, conversation and encourages conforming. Several speeches from Maya Klein about how we shouldn't spend our time with people who don't want to be a part of the company, including family and lifelong friends. Planning on moving into the same community together that was referred to as the Primerica Estates. Parents had a Halloween party planned the same night as my Primerica office's Halloween party. I was chewed out for picking family over company. We traveled to events out of state. It was frowned upon for us to travel on our own. They wanted us to go on a bus or van together. The idea that someone would be happier doing something other than Primerica? Comical. Surgeons, lawyers, military officers, scientists. All would be better off joining Primerica and giving up their jobs. Doing something that wasn't Primerica related. You better be ready to explain yourself. One guy got chewed out in front of the office for going to his grandmother's 80th birthday party. I went out of state with my then wife to celebrate our anniversary required me explaining to those running the office about my actual dedication to the company. Even though I was only gone for one ducking weekend. I even had to explain myself when I stayed home one Sunday to replace the brakes on my car. I was asked, how is that going to improve your business? My answer was, I have to drive to people's homes to sell policies. I shouldn't have to explain how car maintenance is a business related thing. Hobbies had to almost be company approved. If you're reading a book, it better be one to improve your business. Have a hobby that doesn't have any relation to Primerica? Drop it and focus more on Primerica. Sell your television if it's a distraction from your business. When it came to getting to the company event in Georgia, we were told that getting there is our highest priority. Sell anything you can. If you can't afford to go, tickets alone were over $100, including televisions, video game consoles, computers, so on and so forth. Kids weren't safe either. Those members who were dedicated 100% to the company who had kids drug their kids to the office on nights and weekends. I saw kids a day after Christmas with some of their new toys, playing at the table in our break room, fighting off boredom. One pair of parents had a kid who got a laser tag birthday party invite that was the same day as one of the big dull events where higher ups from out of state came in to speak to us in long dull speeches. The parents told their kid, nearly in tears as we were in line to enter the event room, that going to this event was more important than playing laser tag. He's a 10-year-old kid, and he can't be a kid. Has to follow this as what he will do for his lifelong career. R/ and Tim would probably like if you did a Q&A regarding your time there. What is MLM? See it a lot. Had an accident when I was 12 that injured my back. Sitting hurt. I convinced my mother to allow me to walk around during the multi-hour long services in the library/overflow room downstairs that had a speaker blaring whatever was going on at the pulpit. In that library was all the original cult publications from 80 plus years previous. No one ever paid any attention to them, but I was a voracious reader. They were into some wackadoo hit at the beginning that totally contradicted the current teachings. Pyramid power. Numerology. I never said anything because it was a closed society and questioning meant total shunning, but from that point on I was aware that it was all garbage and I spent most of my time planning my escape. When I finally publicly called bullshit 6 years later, I lost everyone and everything. Life sucked for a while, but 10/10ths would do it again. Don't answer the door when Jehovah's Witnesses come knocking, especially if you have children. They're hiding tens of thousands of pedophiles in their ranks. FN weirdo doomsday bastards. I always answer because they often have their child with them. I just look at the kid and say something like, when you're older you will have the ability to just leave if you want. Don't let anyone tell you that you can't. What a power move. That's a damn good idea. Obligatory not me, but my friend's grandfather was a farmer growing up. Think 1940s or 50s. It was kind of a remote town. But he would talk to other farmers and buyers when he went down to the market. One day, an acquaintance of his tells him that they're having a meeting with whole bunch of other farmers and farm hands and that he should come and join. My friend's grandfather, thinking it's some sort of farmers alliance, is like, sure, why not? Friend's grandpa goes to the meeting and is a bit confused when it's not about farming at all. It's a KKK meeting. He has a no crap, I'm in a cult moment. But waits till it's over because he doesn't know what will happen if someone sees him trying to leave. Meeting ends. He goes home. Dude tries to invite him again, and friend's grandpa nopes out of there. Edit. Some have brought up that the KKK isn't a cult, but more of a hate group / gang. I always thought it was a cult. But hey, you learn something new every day. Carry on. How does the KKK work? I assume they use social pressure to coerce membership to fill their ranks. I imagine once you're in you can't get out. Is it a gang or a cult? I always thought domestic terror organization Marizo than either gang or cult. It was the summer during middle school when a friend of a friend invited us out to a camp that lasted a week. It has so much awesome stuff like paintball, four-wheeling, swimming on the lake, it was right on. Sounded kick-ass. So I went. It was an ultra-religious camp. We had to give our phones up when we got there. First hour of the day was praying. Then 30-minute breakfast followed by another hour of praying. Then 2 hours of alone time where you couldn't go back to your rooms or do anything other than sit and talk to Jesus and God. Then another hour of praying. Then 30-minute lunch. Then 30-minute prayer. Then a good 4-5 hours of free time to do all those activities. Then another hour of prayer. Then 30-minute dinner. Then prayer. Then we got to go back to our rooms to talk to our assigned counselor, who led us in evening prayer. I'm not saying that this place was a cult, but I had my thoughts when they led us on a march to a big fire and made us lay down in a massive field staring at the stars while they chanted prayers over a microphone one night that week. Duck that place. Edit. Another thing that I vividly remember was when we were laying down in the field they began to hand off the microphone to people who had anything they wanted to share. One girl began to talk about how her and a few of her friends were asking each other what if humans are actually just robots. She got so worked up over it, she began to cry into the mic. Another vivid memory was laying down in our bunks late at night and talking about how the universe came to be. I mentioned the Big Bang Theory and they all began to agree unanimously how stupid that theory is, and there's no way that happened. Right, but a big dude in the sky made it. That makes YAII more sense. Geez. I've been to Jesus camp before. And while it certainly had its religious theme and plenty of discussion on the Bible, it was still a summer camp where you did fun activities a vast majority of the day. What you described sounds like torture. Not torture. Indoctrination. A wee bit heavy-handed to trick noobers into staying though. Mine wasn't a typical definition of a cult, but I realized Jehovah's Witnesses were pretty delusional by about 12-13 years old. Took me a few more years to get out due to my father being an elder and someone who had no problem physically forcing his son to go to meetings and out in service, door knocking. Sounds like a corny fake scenario, but it took me being tough enough to fight him off. Was asked to leave the house at 17 while still in grade 12. So I did. I had a job and had an older friend to live with. That's when I realized it was, in my opinion, a cult. That you would turn on your son because he didn't believe what you believe. That you would beat your son because he was being bullied at school and couldn't stand door knocking anymore in his own neighborhood where he encountered classmates either at their homes or as they were riding their bikes down the street on a sunny Saturday morning with me walking with my dad in a suit and tie with a briefcase full of maniac ravings about living forever. Another thought. I was never baptized, so my parents will still talk to me. Had I been, I'd have been totally cut off. A guy I grew up with who got baptized at 15, but was disfellowshipped as an adult. If he sees his father or sisters on the street, they will turn their heads away, won't even acknowledge him. That is so ducked up to me. I have a son now, and there is nothing that could ever stop me from loving him. The thought of not speaking to him makes me sick. I have a friend who left the JW cult in his late teens. He had moved out of the house by then. He is married and has children. His mother still sees the family and has basically said, screw this religion, I'm seeing my grandchildren. His father has never met his grandchildren. And about half of his siblings have nothing to do with his family. Such a sad, silly religion. When they said I'm going to marry someone from Korea, when I said no, they said they already bought the plane tickets. You're going to marry a nice Korean person? No. Come on. We already bought the plane tickets. In that case, have fun on your Korean vacation. To be fair, I'm pretty sure they didn't actually buy plane tickets, they were just saying that to coerce/pressure me into it. When I worked at Home Depot, the first line of one of the books the owners wrote was, Home Depot is not a cult. I'm confused. A hardware store's known for cults? Is that a thing I should watch out for next time I build a shed? It's more like the company treats the employees as if it's a cult. I was actually in a church that transformed slowly into a cult. They just slowly started doing more and more miracle things and being open more and more days, open with encouragement to be there for those days. Tithes became incredibly important and the priest family became more and more important. I left, but I heard some insane things happened after I left. I was lucky as I came from a really complicated low socioeconomic background. When I moved for uni there wasn't much fight for me. This sounds so much like my mother-in-law's non-denominational evangelical church. I went to a service with her once, and it seemed to me that they were worshipping the pastor and his family at least as much as they were worshipping God. It creeped me all the way out, and I never went again. I went to a non-denominational church for a while years ago, where they had a rock band. People would raise their hands and some would dance. I liked it because I always felt that worship should be a joyful thing, rather than somber. I remember thinking as a kid that the church scene from the Blues Brothers looked like the best church I had ever seen. But after a while at that church I got the distinct impression that the dancers and the hand raisers were doing those things less for worship and more for appearances. Like they wanted to show how in the spirit they were for the benefit of those around them. It started to leave a bad taste in my mouth. And I stopped going. My faith became much more individualistic after that. 3 things happened. 1. A person died from suspicious circumstances, loosely tied to the group, and none of the adults would listen to me that he did not commit suicide. 2. I started to meet those back parking lot kids at school who were into free thinking and questioning religion. Most are artists and successful loving parents now. 3. Couple those things with the fact that the youth group weekly Bible study leader thought she could actually see demons and the head youth leader was backing her up on her claims. I was pretty ready to leave when I turned 18. I did not go back. I forgot. My mother tried to exorcise demons from me when I was 18 because I came home late at 11:30 p.m. I was an A/B student. Had maybe smoked pot like 2x. Was a virgin and all in all a pretty good kid. I had no language or education at that point to argue that I was, in fact, not possessed by the devil, because you can't argue with crazy. She's kicked me out a few weeks later, and I stayed with a family of Wiccans before I moved to my first shared apartment. I realized recently, if you go to reddit.com/subreddits, the top 2 links are political parties that are constantly told the other party is literally trying to and are succeeding. These 2 groups are also fiercely separated. No unapproved ideas within the echo chambers. Any concept of common ground is squashed immediately. I'm not saying there isn't a clear good guy and bad guy. I'm just saying Reddit has the motivation to fuel the fire. You know. I went and looked at it, and I noticed something weird. Every other sub on that page has at least 1 million subscribers, with most having considerably more. Only TD, college football, and NFL have fewer than 1 million. And only college football has less than TD at 684k. Why the hell is TD so far up on that list? What algorithm put it there? For that matter, what algorithm put college football there? When the High Lama snapped a crying toddler on the side of the head to get him to shut up, then demanded that children be kept out of earshot, or 1,000 yards away. Great compassion my ass. Not to mention he got drunk every night while he taught. Not to mention he said Westerners lack the discernment to judge and choose their own teachers. Hello fellow ex-Eastern religion friend. May I ask what sect you escaped from / you yeeted out of your life? Mine was a weird hybrid of Shavist and Nyingma Buddhist. Nyingma. Thanks for tuning in for this WTF Red episode. Don't forget to like and subscribe to the one and only askreddit channel that will blow your mind every time.